Hey guys, Jonah here, back once again, back with a beer review. And we're doing one from a box. We're doing one from the Flanders box. And it's part of a two series, because there's two beers from these guys, Tipsy Brewing, who, as you can see, are kind of in the north of Belgium, near the border with Netherlands, in Brascat. Which is interesting. In Flanders fields and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I have had some beers from this brewery before, Tipsy Brewing, which is reasonably old, definitely over 100 years old. And it was by a couple of brothers, I believe, if I remember the story rightly, started the brewery. And it is not focusing on this bad boy. I don't know why that is. There you go, 1898. There you go. Hoppy Belgian lager. Oud Good. There we go. It's got Cascade in it apparently, which is crazy. Not very well used. Although these days Belgian beers are using American hops, which I think is quite interesting. Is it going to zoom in? Jesus, there we go. Ingredients, there we go, water, barley, malt, wheat malt as well, and yeast, of course. It is Cascade, the hop used, although it doesn't say on the can itself. How strong is this bad boy? 4.8% on the ABV on a daily. And we are well into summer. Well, we're almost in summer. May, June is the beginning of summer, isn't it? Some people will say springtime, which is also true, but it's a bit hit or miss, dear viewer, in the UK, especially if you live in an island such as me. Depends which way the wind is blowing. Cheers and beers. Glass. Boom. Oh, this glass, it needs a bit of a clean in the light. Looking a little bit kind of dirty, and when I say dirty, I mean it's got there we go, a good finger's head, nice amount of carbonation. You can see that roaring away, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's got a bit of we've got a lot of chalk in the water, so it tends to end up on the glasses. There we go. Tipsy Brewing, move that over that way, do that. Cheeky grin and all that kind of stuff. Let's see what we get. Nice. Citrus, maybe a touch of kind of resinous type thing. I wouldn't necessarily say that this was Cascade, but it's giving me a little bit of kind of that Belgian yeast kind of thing. And maybe that's going to come through. So I'm expecting it to be a little bit bitter, a little bit sour. We're going to have some citrus on there from the Cascade hops. I think this is going to be a good beer. Cheers! And that colour is quite good. It's like an IPA type colour, which is cool. And I'm drinking through the foam. Nice to have that. Up front. Oh, it is quite carbonated. Up front, really crisp, clean, sharp. It is a little bit cloudy. Not perfect quality. But then it's a Belgian beer, Belgium yeast, and I have had it in the fridge, so maybe there's a bit of chill haze in there too. Yeah, secondary, the hops come through. Yeah, I'm getting that citrus, that peach. I don't know, it's been a while since I've had a lot of Cascade, so it's that kind of peachy thing going on, which is nice. There is a tiny bit of bitterness there, sorry, sour bitterness from the end, which I think is probably coming, yeah, from the yeast or the interaction between the hops in this case, which is Cascade, and the yeast that they've used. Interesting that it's a lager without noble hops, although Cascade has been around for a lot of years. And Cascade is one of those hops you can use. It's called a dual hop. You can use it in bittering and you can use it for aroma and kind of the taste, which is really good because you only need to buy a couple of bags, or I don't know how big the batch for this bad boy was, but sacks worth of hops as opposed to multiple sacks of different hops to get it dialed in nicely. Cascade you can use for anything you like, which is cool. Let's go in for some more. Ooh. Yeah, I'm surprised how clean that is up front. There's a tiny bit of sort of chemicaliness. Yeah, maybe because they're using a wheat malt, or maybe a kind of like along the lines of a dextrin or something like that. It always does something to the water, I feel, and it gives it that kind of slightly metallic, slightly chemically type thing, purely because you're using those malts. Yeah, nice. And what did I say the strength was for? There we go. Don't know if you guys saw that the first time. 4.8 on the old God. On the ABV. Oud God. Or Oud Good. Herman. There you go. Herman Brothers. Ooh, wow. And it is giving quite a lot of carbon dioxide. It's still going. It's kind of like a torrent, a rage. Oh, I think I can see a tiny bit of, oh, that's a shame, a tiny bit of hop right at the bottom of the glass here. So that has kind of got through. I think maybe it's hop. Maybe it's something else. I don't know if you guys can see right at the bottom. There's a little dark, there it is, little dark spot. Yeah, quality control, not perfect, but yeah, I don't mind too much, as long as it's not full of kind of particulates. I'll let that one slide. Oh, I was speaking to another beer judge who was judging in the World Beer Cup, which is usually held on the continent somewhere. It moves around a little bit, but it's usually somewhere, yeah, in various different conference centres and that kind of stuff. And he said that lager, when you're judging lager, it's ridiculous because you're drinking like maybe 100, maybe 200 lagers. You're literally having a shot of each, a tiny amount. You might not even swallow, you might be spitting it out. And when you've done, I don't know, I get bored after 10 or 20 lagers in a row, and trying to pick them apart would be incredibly difficult. So shout out to those guys. I'm doing some beer judging. I've just done my training course, although I missed it the first time, so apologies if Christine is watching. I'm not sure if she watches my videos. Maybe she does. If she does, hey Christine, how are you going? And yeah, I'm going to be judging bitters, premium bitters, so that's stronger bitters at the Cambridge Beer Festival in a couple of weeks' time. And it's basically part of the Champion Beer of Britain. Everything is weird this year because the two big beer festivals, the one that used to be at Olympia and they held at Birmingham last year, where I was on the top table, so that was a really good experience. Yeah, they usually hold that in August, but this year they're doing it at Cambridge, which is another huge beer festival in the UK. But of course, it's May instead of August, so we'll know, yeah, the champion beer really, really early on in the year, which is cool. But it might mean that different breweries are involved because certain beers are brewed in different times and different times of the year and taste different depending when they're brewed, all that kind of jazz. But I'm really looking forward to it. The other thing I found out was the Ealing Beer Festival, they're not doing beer judging there this year, which is a real shame because I really loved going to Ealing. Really cool, even though it's a bit tricky to get to because I don't live in London anymore. But yeah, real shame. I've got a few connections with Ealing family-wise, and yeah, I used to love sort of going under the trees and thinking, you know, my dad and my granddad might have wandered under these trees back in the day because they were from Ealing at one point, or nearby anyway. Yeah, that is a pretty good lager, but a lager it is. And it's a style of beer that I'm not incredibly enthused about, but yeah, that's a nice one, fresh, nothing wrong with that. It's a Belgian one as opposed to UK lager or German lager, which do have their kind of regional kind of differences. So for a Belgian one, really, really good. Anyway, I'm going to be drinking more Tipsy coming up, and they'll be coming up real soon, along with some other beer reviews. I haven't forgotten about my beers, and yeah, built up a bit of a backlog. So, you know, summer's here. I need to, yeah, I need to get drinking. But those reviews, if I decide to do them on this kind of channel or do them recorded, they will be coming up real damn soon.